My friends, Kenya is not only open for business, we also mean business. But there is more work to be done. Private sector players make long-term investment decisions in an environment with predictable policies, among them tax policies. My administration is finalizing a new tax policy guideline that have gone through various stakeholder consultations, including inputs from AmCham. This policy that will enhance transparency in our tax regime will take effect by June 2023, that is this year, and it will be in place for a minimum of 3 years at least. We're doing this so that you can make your investment decisions knowing exactly how the tax regime will look for the next 3 years. The growth of digital commerce has forced many countries to impose digital service tax measures on income derived in their tax jurisdictions. Kenya has also done the same. But following discussions with players in this sector, we have made a commitment to review this tax regime and align it with a two-pillar solution currently being developed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is an inclusive framework. The framework will guide the taxation of digital commerce transactions going forward once the negotiations are complete. I know many people know what I'm talking about, and we have made this policy shift because we consulted and we listened, and we want to create a win-win partnership. One of the key challenges for business community has been the issue of tax, especially VAT on exported services. This tax not only renders us uncompetitive as a country, but it also inhibits investors seeking to make Kenya their regional or global services hub. Many companies are already operating out of Kenya and servicing regional markets. Following consultations again with stakeholders, VAT on exported services will be removed in the finance bill. Let me take that again. Maybe I could get some more applause. Following consultations with stakeholders, VAT on exported services will now be removed in the finance bill in the coming budget in June this year. The issue of tax refunds has remained a thorn in the flesh for many companies. Not local companies alone, even foreign companies and many corporates that work with us. The government of Kenya is making again a policy shift on this matter. And as a result, effective June this year, all verified tax refund claims will be payable within 6 months. I know that has been said somehow before. But let me say this additionally. If, for whatever reason, a refund is not made by the Kenya Revenue Authority within this period, the taxpayer can offset their claim against future tax liability without further application to the Kenya Revenue Authority. The statement I am making is that if it is okay for you to pay your tax in time, it must be okay for you to get your tax refund in time. And if we fail, for whatever reason, after you have paid your tax in time, I am saying, after 6 months, all verified tax refunds you can net off from what you are supposed to pay to the government of Kenya. That way, we will eliminate any possibility of tax refunds outstanding for more than 6 months. And I think that is, we have taken that policy position because I have had this challenge of tax refunds ever since I became part of government. The government of Kenya is keen to make Kenya the top innovation hub on the continent and attract new ideas, often executed by startup companies. However, I have received complaints that we impose what we call employee benefit tax on allocated shares to employees of startup companies, even before any value is realized on these shares. I'm proud to announce that the government of Kenya will exempt startup companies from paying taxes. The government of Kenya will exempt startup companies from paying taxes on such unrealized gains on employee allocated shares starting July 1 this year. I know I'm speaking to many Kenyan startups. I know I'm also speaking to many startups from everywhere in the world. It's only fair that we give these startups a chance to be by not imposing unnecessary restrictions, especially when initially they are not able to pay as much for their employees, and in exchange they want to allocate some shares. It's not fair for anybody to be asked to pay tax on shares that you have been allocated before you sell the shares. I think you can only pay tax when you sell the shares. I am committed to make Kenya one of the most attractive places to do business. As you may know, Kenya has been ranked the third most attractive place to do business in Africa by World Bank under its ease of doing business scheme. We continue to build on this success story. We are also reviewing our special economic zones and export processing zones laws to remove impediments to attracting new local and foreign investments. The raft of amendments are under stakeholder consultations, and Moses Kuria will bear me witness, and we intend to have a new set of incentives by July 1 this year. The national ICT policy requires foreign ICT entities that set up in Kenya to have a 30% domestic equity. This position is untenable and has made it impossible for large corporations to invest in Kenya. As a result, we will review this position and remove the requirement of 30% equity to facilitate greater investment in the ICT sector. And additionally, our data protection law is aligned to support robust growth in data storage. I am sure that AWS have something to report. In fact, I was persuaded by a good gentleman from Amazon Web Services that it was impossible for Amazon to cede 30% equity to any entity they didn't have a business relationship with. And as a result, they were holding their investment in our country. I hope Amazon, now that I have kept my part of the bargain, Now that I have kept my part of the bargain, I hope you keep yours. And it's not just about Amazon. It's about all other ICT companies that want to invest in our country. Kenya has one of the most developed financial services sector in the continent. We are ripe for the establishment of an international financial center in Nairobi to attract global financial players. To continue to reinforce this strong position, we are working with organizations such as Financial Action Task Force to ensure Kenya fully complies with the relevant international standards on money laundering and terrorist financing activities, so as to make this international financial center a reality. And Moses Kuria has marching orders on what he needs to do for us to make this reality. And to cement our partnership in trade and investment, the American Chamber of Commerce, the government of Kenya, and the United States have today, right in front of us here, launched a trilateral business dialogue to address and resolve the challenges of U.S. investors and businesses in Kenya. This new trilateral platform, scheduled to meet every 3 months, will serve as a key convening body to jointly tackle investment challenges and is a demonstration of the government of Kenya's commitment to hearing directly from the U.S. business community. I wish to affirm that we are determined to deliver on every single undertaking, pledge, and commitment, both to our friends and to all our citizens. I will now cover a few areas where interesting activities is taking place to highlight the opportunities and progress in Kenya. We are interested in modernizing food production to achieve food security and anchor agro-industrial manufacturing. The lifting of the long-awaited ban on GMO crops is intended to bestow the benefits of safe technology to support agricultural abundance. The Kenya food exports to the U.S. increased by nearly 10% in 2022 to reach US dollars 190 million. There are opportunities to leverage US-Kenya investments and collaboration to grow the agricultural sector and take full advantage of the US market. Del Monte, for example, the largest private sector employer in Kenya, has invested US dollars 5.5 million in a new state-of-the-art fruit packaging facility as part of its diversification program. The facility has a processing capacity of 60,000 metric tons of fresh fruits and vegetables a year and has created 280 jobs already. Del Monte's plan is to source pineapples, avocados, mangoes, French beans from local growers in Murang'a, Kiambu, Machakos, and other counties, engaging about 2,000 farmers. I am delighted to share that Kentegra, that was already mentioned by Moses, a US-Kenya company at the forefront of restoring our country's position as the leading producer of organic pyrethrum insecticides, is building a new pyrethrum refinery in Nakuru. With support from the US government, this refinery will benefit about 90,000 farmers in 5 counties. I had the privilege to connect Ambassador Meg with the 5 governors so that they can provide scale for this factory. And in fact, as the Nakuru Governor Susan Kihiga said in January when she announced the new investment, and I quote her, "I am a very big champion of pyrethrum, and I am convinced we can make it one of our main cash crops and best money maker again." This reminds us of where Kenya was a few years ago. The Kenya-US partnership is at the center of this industrial revival. Synergy, a US investment and innovative company founded by young Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduates that turns waste into fertilizer, fuel, and animal feed, will expand their farm and organic waste collection, more than doubling their production of affordable, locally produced agricultural inputs to the benefit of at least 10,000 farmers. The expansion of the factory will also create at least 300 new jobs. Leveraging U.S. agriculture and green technology solutions can help Kenyan farmers adapt to drought and climate change. For example, the partnership with U.S. solar irrigation company SunCulture will expand their pay-as-you-go model to make this technology accessible to more than 10,000 Kenyan farmers, with a potential for increasing their yields and incomes by up to 40%. Hello Tractor, a company the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, visited when she was in Kenya last month, is an agtech company that connects tractor owners and smallholder farmers through its tractor sharing application. With John Deere, they are scaling up operations throughout Kenya, combining Hello Tractor's ability to unlock the last mile of digital agriculture with John Deere's sector know-how and investment creates significant opportunities to add additional services to smallholder farmers, such as climate-smart agriculture, operator training, and agronomist services. iProcure, the largest agricultural supply chain platform in rural Africa, will scale up its distribution model to reach an additional 1 million smallholder farmers in Kenya with affordable agricultural inputs. I was amazed when I came across this great investment in Western Kenya and what they are doing. I am also excited about the US company Victory Farms. People may not know that Kenya is home to the fastest growing aquaculture company in sub-Saharan Africa. Victory Farms is producing high quality tilapia, empowering communities and also creating employment. New investments secured into Victory Farms will see them quadruple their production, creating thousands of jobs for women entrepreneurs while supplying affordable, safe, and high-quality fish protein to millions of Kenyan consumers. And of course, the big story, the apparel sector, is soaring and primed for even more growth. Kenya's 2022 apparel exports to the United States hit an all-time high of US dollars 544 million, a 21% increase from 2021, and over 60% of our exports to the US last year. And by the way, the US is now Kenya's largest export market, importing 892 million worth of goods, US dollar worth of goods from Kenya last year. We also imported, we're not doing badly, we also imported US dollars 600 million of goods and services from the United States last year. This is balanced by all indications. And this is sustainable trade with lots of room for growth. Iconic US brands are sourcing in Kenya, including Calvin Klein, Levi, Lee, and Wrangler. Specifically Wrangler because I have 2-3 shirts in my wardrobe. In recent years, new factories like MAS and Hella have entered the market, creating more than 12,000 jobs in the past 2 years. Since I came into office, new partnerships have been launched with a number of leading manufacturing companies, including the aforementioned MAS and Mega, Coastal Apparels, UAL, that will create an additional 20,000 jobs and increase exports by an additional US dollars 200 million in the next 2 years. And I must give credit, due credit, to Meg Whitman. If there was a possibility for one ambassador to represent 2 countries, Meg Whitman would be one of them. She has ably represented the US, and she has, in a very sterling way, represented Kenya. We are also working with best cooperation on a new apparel manufacturing facility in Kenya to be launched mid this year, with plans to hire another 2,400 new employees. Kohinoor Elastics, the first elastic manufacturing investment in Kenya in a long time, will be launched this year. Additionally, US company NextGen will build a state-of-the-art apparel label and packaging facility that has already broken ground and will be operational by September. Let me talk a bit about innovation. From the Silicon Savannah to the green energy sector, many innovative companies are already calling Kenya home. Like agriculture and apparel, there is huge growth potential in this priority sector. Kenya is a global leader in clean energy solutions. US companies are big investors in Kenya and East Africa's off-grid sector, with more than 40% market share. These companies are providing millions of people with access to life-changing benefits of power in rural Kenya. In the past year, these companies have provided more than 860,000 Kenyans with access to off-grid connections and worked with industry leaders to raise more than $120 million for the development of the sector. US company Delight alone will support at least an additional 600,000 households to access clean energy solutions. Milele Energy, a US company, has just concluded a deal to acquire part of the Turkana wind power project, one of the largest in Africa and producer of over 20% of Kenya's electricity in 2022. This is together with plans for expansion. Sympion Power, another American company, is closing in on a deal to develop a geothermal plant in our Rift Valley. I am also delighted that plans are moving forward for Kipeto 3 right here in Ngong, a new 50 megawatt grid-connected wind power plant with an integrated battery storage component for the first time. In January, Africa's largest network of interconnected data center facilities, Africa Data Centers, announced they were expanding their presence in Kenya by opening a new second data center in Nairobi. The data center and several more we are expecting in the coming months will further serve as the backbone of our Silicon Savannah future, providing secure digital infrastructure and open, interoperable, and reliable internet. In fact, At our leading private-owned special economic zone, Tatu City in Kiambu County, CCI Global, the largest business processing outsourcing company in Kenya, is doubling its workforce from 4,000 to 8,000. I had a conversation with Tatu City, and we are finalizing some incentives for them so that we can bring additional outsourcing companies into our country, because we have the best workforce anywhere in the world, and we are very proud of it. In the next year, again, CCI will add 4,000 jobs in Kenya for American clients like United Airlines, Spirit Airlines, JetBlue, AT&T, and Shipped. These are new jobs for young Kenyans, largely between 18 and 24.